position of the senator and the island-wide mandate, because it's very clear that it's very popular in the island. But I think what you have to do when you consider the role of the senator is consider that there is a price that is paid for having senators in that privileged position of being elected island-wide. And I think one of the main price that's paid is all the attention on the island gets focused onto that one election. The media coverage covers that. The hustings, island-wide hustings and so on, are all focused on that election. As a result, it encourages a division in the sort of people who are elected between, on the one hand, a small number of people who have an island-wide perspective, and a large majority of people elected into the states who do not have an island-wide perspective as part of their their outlook. And we feel that is fundamentally damaging to the states, and that it is better to try and have one single class of member that is not on a parish basis, but is on a large electoral district basis, to capture some of the spirit of the senators. That, in other words, they have a brief extending beyond parishes. And by putting it into a single election, single electoral class, a single type of member, that everyone will have to address issues beyond their own parish. And I think that is the central driving force behind what we're proposing. But Juliet, I don't know if you wanted.
There are some little things I could add to that, perhaps. You mentioned the need to have people focusing on international issues. Well, in the course of our researches, for example, we looked at Guernsey, where they've gone to districts, as you're aware, and they assured us that the international issues are the predominant issues discussed at the hustings by the candidates, that they feel that they've lifted away from very sort of inward-looking issues in the parishes, and they do find that the quality of the issues discussed certainly has raised. And of course, we have the sheer impracticality of trying to do an island-wide election for 42 members. There are obviously there's the obvious things like having 42. Well, even if there are only 2 candidates for each position, you might have 80 manifestos to read. You might, and then you have a very long ballot paper. But the real crux was the research that had been done. That show the limits of ranking, how voters found it difficult to really rank people beyond, I think it's 7 was the golden number. In the previous reforms, we've aimed at a reduction to 8 senators, and we felt at that time that was the maximum number that people could elect with any meaning at any one time. Across the island, a large number of votes were cast for the popular senators, but the one further down the poll might only have, if you're going to 30 senators, for example, you might only have a very small percentage of the poll electing those senators who came very low. So the validity of their election was in doubt. And the previous PPC did a lot of work on that, which is what led to the reforms to the stage that we've got now. And I think you're right, there is an emotional attachment to the senators, and there's a real feeling that you can influence, every vote you cast will influence the makeup of the states. And what we've tried to do, what we've striven for, is to capture the best bits of that and to transfer it into the large constituencies.